Hello, and thanks for joining the webinar about ISO 42001. Yeah, let's just wait a minute for everyone to join. And while we're waiting, just if you can let me know where you're joining from. So if you can send me this message through this Q&A pane, so question pane here through Zoom. Or through LinkedIn messages, I mean chat messages if you are joining through LinkedIn. Just let me know, the city and a country where you're coming from. I'm calling in from Zagreb, from Croatia. So let me know where you're coming from. I would like to know where from are people interested in this kind of AI governance topic. Okay, yeah, I see from Luxembourg. Okay, Birmingham, England, Chile, WEC, Canada. Okay. New Brunswick, Canada, Portugal, Porto. Okay, great. Great. Thanks for letting me know. Okay, so London, South Africa. Okay, great. So many people are letting me know now. Anyway, while we're waiting for your inputs, just a couple of notes here. First of all, we are recording this webinar, and you'll be able to watch actually the webinar from the same page where you registered for the webinar. So if you registered on Advisera webpage, then on the same page where you registered, you will also see the recording of this webinar. If you registered through YouTube or LinkedIn, then you will actually be able to see this same webinar, the recording on the same page where you actually registered. Second thing is you'll be able to download this presentation deck, and I'll actually let you know where you can download it when at the end of the webinar. So if you can stick until the end of the webinar, I'll let you know where's the link, where you can find the link to download it. Okay, I also see a couple of more people from Singapore, Nigeria. Great. Okay, from all over the world. Okay, great. I think we can start now. Welcome to the webinar, what is ISO 42001 and how to implement it. My name is Dejan Kosutic, and you might have attended some of my cybersecurity webinars, but now I'm actually taking the role of the main AI governance expert in Advisera, and Advisera is a company that makes compliance easy to understand and simple to use. And this webinar today will last approximately 60 minutes, and I'll try to make it as interactive as possible, so that you can ask any questions that you want, and you actually don't have to wait for this Q&A session at the end. You can actually ask your questions before the end of the webinar, and then I'll try to answer them as I go through the presentation. Good. Let's move on to this next slide. So basically, why is this topic of 42001 important? Because one of the biggest actually problems with the quicker adoption of these new AI technologies is really lack of trust, right? And lack of trust is basically because there are numerous risks, actually, ISO 42001 is a way to address those risks and basically build trust in AI systems. So this is why 42001 is important. So in today's webinar, I'll present you some basic facts about this AI standard or AI governance standard, and also explain you what are the implementation steps. And basically this webinar today is for anyone who is in charge of either AI systems or AI governance. So basically this is something that will be interesting not only for people who are in companies, but also for consultants, for auditors, and so on. Okay, so one of my main points today is that this ISO 42001 standard actually defines how can you achieve this trustworthiness in AI systems. And this trustworthiness is actually achieved through AI governance, and ISO 42001 prescribes or describes AI governance, or you can also call it AI management system. So for me, there is almost no difference between AI governance and AI management system. Okay, now let's move on to the agenda. And by the way, if you want me to focus on any of these particular topics, then let me know through the chat message, and then I'll try to spend more time on these things. Anyway, I want to go through some very basics of ISO 42001. And then I'll go through the main clauses of 42001 and compare them to ISO 27001, because actually these two standards are similar in some respects. Obviously they're not similar in everything, but some things are actually kind of similar, or let's say parallel, so to say, and then I wanted to show these things. And then also show you these 18 steps for implementing 42001. And if you have time, we'll go through these greatest challenges and how to address them. Okay, great. Okay, so I have a question, two questions. Okay, I'll answer these questions in the next slide. Good. So first of all, the basics of this standard. So the full name is ISO IEC 42001-2023 Information Technology Artificial Intelligence Management System. So first of all, this ISO, I assume this, you know, this is basically International Organization for Standardization. So basically this is published by ISO organization, and this means that this standard, as well as other ISO standards, are accepted worldwide. Why? Because ISO was founded by governments around. ISO standards are accepted in each country. Okay, 2023 stands that it's published in year 2023. And by the way, it was published in December 2023, so it was roughly 1 year after ChatGPT was first published in November 2022. So roughly 1 year after this, so to say, ground zero for for this new AI era. All right, artificial intelligence management system. So if you know other ISO standards like, I don't know, 27001, then you know it's about information security management system, or I don't know, 9001 about quality management system. So this is also about how to build a management system. Obviously, this one is focused on artificial intelligence. As well as other ISO standards, this one is also applicable to smaller companies, larger companies, any industry. So basically, any company that, let's say, develops AI systems and provides AI-powered products in the market, or that uses AI systems like ChatGPT. If you're using ChatGPT in your company, then you're a user of AI system. Then you can also apply this standard so that you are basically applying this technology in the right way. The standard follows this high-level structure, clauses 4 to 10. I'll show you this in the next slide. So basically the same structure as you can actually see it in other standards. There are these annexes A and B, which list these controls, and I'll also go through this a little bit later on. And basically the main concept in the standard is that you actually manage these AI systems by assessing the risks. Okay, so you have to find out which bad things can happen, and then you actually have to apply various safeguards or controls to actually decrease those risks. And in that regards, 42001 is also pretty similar to ISO 27001. Now, I received a question from Paula. Is ISO 42001 certifiable? Yes, it is. So again, it's the same as other standards. And this is basically, you can certify a company for its AIMS. You can certify its AIMS, Artificial Intelligence Management System, against ISO 42001 with the certification body. You can also go for a certification as individual. You can go through a course and then pass the exam and basically get a certificate as individual that you basically have the knowledge about this standard. All right, now let's move on to the next. By the way, we'll share now with you a link to an article. An article is called "What is ISO 42001?" So if you want to learn about more detail, about more the basics of this standard, you can take a look at this article. And by the way, if you join the webinar through Zoom or through YouTube, you will be able to click this link and it will open right away. If you can't, if you're actually joining through LinkedIn, then because of some internal limitations in LinkedIn, you can't really click this link, but the workaround for this is that you simply copy the URL and paste it into your browser, and you'll be able to open the link. Okay, now let's move on to this So if you know the structure of, let's say, 27001, you will see that these clauses and subclauses are almost the same in terms of terminology. So there is this clause 4.1, understanding the context, the organization in its context, and difference between 27001 is moderate because besides these, let's say, regular things that are written in 27001, like internal, external context, these kind of things, you also have the requirement in 42001 about the definition of these AI, the roles for AI systems. So you could define that, for example, your company's AI provider, meaning, let's say, a platform provider or a product provider, or that your company's AI producer, like a developer or tester or something like this, or that it's AI customer, or that it's AI partner, all kinds of things. So basically, you have to define these as part of clause 4.1. 4.2, 4.3 are almost the same. There is almost no difference between 42 and 27001, as well as this 4.4 for AI management system. Of course, it's in 27, it's called information security management system, but again, the text is almost the same. The whole clause 5 is almost similar. Again, you have to define the commitment, the top level policy, the roles and responsibilities, very, very similar requirements. Yeah, and by the way, I'll actually show you, before I move on to the next slide, I'll show you an article on the website, on Advisera website. So you have this article called ISO 27001 sorry, not 27001. I speak too much about 27. No, it's about ISO 42001 requirements. And here, when you scroll down, you will see the explanation of all the clauses. So clause 4, and then all the subclauses, clause 5, and subclauses, and so on. So if you click this link that we'll share now with you, you will be able to open this article. Okay, anyway, let's move on to the next slide. This is about clause 6. Now, 6.1.1 general, it's very similar to 27001, although it's more detailed. Even though when you read this more detailed 6.1.1, I can't really say that you'll be, let's say, learning something new. It's I don't know, lots of text, but I don't really see a benefit of this additional text in 42001. 6.1.2 risk assessment, very, very similar to 27001. 6.1.3 AI risk treatment, very similar to 27001. By the way, 6.1.3 basically says that you need to apply controls, and these controls you will find in Annex A. Again, similar thing like in 27. That you have to write statement of applicability, again very similar to 27, and that you have to write a risk treatment plan, and that risk that the senior management needs to accept the residual risks. So all of these things are very, very similar as in 27001. And by the way, if you want to learn how risks are managed in 27001, we'll share now a link with you for ISO 27001 risk management. So you'll see a very detailed guide on the website if you want to learn more about 27 risk management. We still do not have an article about 42001 risk management. This is something that that we will do in the next couple of months. Okay, then there is this subclause 6.1.4 AI system impact assessment, and there is no such a clause, no such requirement in 27001. This is completely new when compared to 27, and basically this is about this is different from risk assessment, and basically here you have to assess not something that you that could potentially happen in the future, I mean risks. Rather, this AI system impact assessment is about something that will surely happen in the future because of regular use or misuse. Okay, so for example, let's say that you have an AI system for I don't know, customer chatbot. Okay, and then a risk could be that let's say some data is let's say a risk could be that it hallucinates. It might or it might not happen. This is a risk. But during the AI system impact assessment, you might find actually that you will simply have or need fewer people working as customer agents, right? In this case, this is something that will almost certainly happen, and this is something that you have to take into account when doing the AI system impact assessment, how this will impact the individuals, in this case, in your company. Okay, 6.2, AI objectives and planning, how to achieve them. Again, very, very similar to 27. 6.3, planning of changes, very similar to 27. Support, whole clause 7, support, again, very, very similar to 27. Clause 8, operation, there is only one smaller difference, and this is that you actually have to regularly review the AI system impact assessment. Other than that, almost the same text as in 27. Clauses 9 and 10, again, almost copy and paste from 27,001. What is very different are these annexes. Annex A does list all the controls. However, instead of these, 93 in 27,001, you have 38, I think, in 42,001. So obviously very different controls there. You can't find any control that would be similar between these two annexes. And there's this Annex B, which does not exist in 27. And Annex B is basically a guideline for implementation of Annex A. So again, in Annex B, in 42,001, again, you see all the 38 controls. But for those controls, you actually have an explanation of how to implement it. Not an explanation, this is a guideline. So in that respect, this Annex B has the same purpose as ISO 27001-2 in this series of ISO 27000 standards. And there are also Annexes C and D. Annex C is about, it provides some suggestions on organizational objectives for AI and also for risk sources. So this would be, let's say, in security terminology, this would be, let's say, threats. And Annex D is about how to integrate the 42,001 with 9,001, 27,001, and 27,701. So kind of general, some general, let's say, guidelines there. But in any case, this Annex A and B are, I would say, very, very useful. Okay, Winrich is asking a comparison of 42,001 with EU AI Act requirements would be great. Yeah, okay, this is one of the things certainly that I'm planning for the future. Ayokuni is asking in 2020, in ISO 22301, when conducting the BIA, we ensure that we get the RTOs and RPOs. What do we tend to achieve with this AI system impact assessment? So, I would say, unfortunately, the business impact analysis in 22301 is very, very different from the AI system impact assessment in 42,001. In 42,001, you try to find out what are the, let's say, worst things that can happen with the regular use of AI. So again, this example that I've given, that you will have no more need for certain profiles of people. Or you might also have some positive impacts like, okay, decreased cost or increased customer satisfaction, these kind of things. Okay, good. So we'll share now with you a link to an article. It's called ISO 42001 versus ISO 27001 similarities and differences. So if you want to learn about more details about this, then please take a look at this article. Okay, good. Let me go to the next slide. So here I'll give you kind of brief overview of these Annex A controls. Obviously, we don't have enough time in this webinar to go through all 38. So I'll just give you these sections though. So as you probably know, in 27,001 there are 4 sections with 93 controls, whereas here in 42,001 there are 9 sections with these 38 controls. And funnily enough, the controls here start from 8.2, whereas in 27 they start from 8.4. Okay, so 8.2 policies related to AI. Basically here you actually have controls which are in the support of writing this top-level policy according to clause 5.2, I think, in the main part of the standard. So 5.2 is about main part of the standard. 5.2 is about writing this top-level policy, and here in 8.2 in Annex you have some suggestions on how to write this top-level policy. 8.3 is about internal organization. Again, this is again some controls which are in support about how to define roles and responsibilities according to the main clause 5.3. 8.4 in annex, there are a couple of controls on resources, and there you have some suggestions on resources like data sources, tooling resources, I don't know, IT sources, human resources. So basically here you have separate controls which describe how you actually have to manage resources. And this is, I would say, again, in support of the clause 7.1 from the main part of the standard about resources. And then 8.5 is assessing impacts of AI systems. So again, these controls here are in the support of the clause 6.1.4 from the main part of the standard, where it requires you to do this AI system impact assessment. Here you have some suggestions on how you actually can do it through these controls. So as you can see, actually in these first 4 sections, these 4 sections, these controls are not independent of the main part of the standard, rather they act as a support of the main part of the standard. And then you will see the rest, the remaining 5 sections are not so directly related to the main part. So the 8.6 AI system lifecycle, so basically the standard requires you to very carefully define how you manage AI systems in each of its AI system lifecycle. And I don't have time to go today through to the concept of AI system lifecycle, but basically you have to define exactly and document exactly how you are going to manage your AI systems from the very inception to design to, I don't know, deployment and so on. And then 8.7 is about data for AI systems. So this is where it requires you to very carefully source and then verify and then implement and make sure that this quality and assure quality of this training data for AI systems. So there is a whole section there, something like 4 or 5 controls there. And then there is this section 8.8, information for interested parties of AI systems. So basically this is what kind of information you have to provide to well, interested parties. So from notifying them about incidents, but also giving them, I don't know, user manuals, support, whatever is needed for your users to actually use your AI systems. And then there is this annex, section 8.9, use of AI systems. So basically here you describe how you actually what is the acceptable use of AI systems, and again a couple of controls on that topic. And then you finally have 8.10 third-party and customer relationships. So this is basically where you define internal responsibilities, who will deal with the customers, who will deal with providers or suppliers of your AI systems, these kind of things. So a lot here, I would say completely new for anyone. I mean, there is nothing similar in any other ISO standard, so it's a lot to learn. And if you want to go into more detail, then we'll now share with you this link to this ISO 42001 Foundations course. So this is a free course on Advisera website, and there you can actually find out the details about each and every control, but also about all the clauses and so on. I'll show you this the curriculum of this course in a couple of slides, but again, if you want to learn more about controls, then you can actually take this course. Okay, a couple of questions coming in from William. How do we integrate multiple ISO management systems like 27001 with 42001? I would say the approach there is the same as integrating with, let's say, 9001. So you can integrate, let's say, starting from the back, from the last clause, you can integrate corrective actions, you can integrate management review, internal audit, you can integrate, let's say, training and awareness, you can integrate document control. So all of these things you can actually integrate, meaning you can have one document that handles several standards. What I think you cannot integrate is, let's say, risk assessment, right? I think that the principles of risk assessment, I mean, requirements for risk assessment are the same, but the essence of risk assessment is very different, right? So in that regards, I think you should be doing a separate risk assessment for 27 and for 42001. Okay, there is an article on our website which speaks about how to integrate various management systems. So I'll ask my colleague to try to find this link and send it through the chat window. Okay, let me see some other questions. Question from Limor. In my case, my organization is just using commercial GenAI modules. Should I put control 8.7 as non-applicable in the statement of applicability? If you, I mean, this really depends on how you're using this. For example, ChatGPT. When in our company we use ChatGPT very heavily for various purposes, and very often we actually upload our own data into ChatGPT because we need to get a context for getting very detailed answers, because we're again using it for very I would say advanced usages. So if you want, I mean, the more data you provide to any kind of AI system, the better output you will get. So even if you're only a user, you still actually very often provide lots of data into it. Maria is asking if the company just uses AI systems, AI6 still applies. So AI6 is about AI system lifecycle. Again, you have the operation part, right? One of the lifecycle stages is about operation. So you're still operating this AI system. So I would say not the whole section, but at least the control that speaks about operation. Mohammed is asking, he's saying, thanks for your great efforts. I would like to know how to prepare for the exam and if there is any test bank. Yeah, so you can go, okay, I'll speak actually about this course in a couple of slides, so I'll give you the answer then. Audrey is asking, will we be getting a copy of the slide deck of the actual standard or the actual standard if possible? Well, actual standard is something that you have to purchase from ISO website, and yeah, you can get a copy of the slide deck, and if you stick to the end of the webinar, I'll explain you where you can download it. All right, now let's move on to the next slide, and this is next couple of slides about these steps. So in my view, you should always start with the management support, because without this support, it's going to be extremely difficult to finish your project. So you really have to get their commitment. The next step is really to set up this project management. So define, who is the project manager, who is the project team, who is the project sponsor, someone from the senior management, project plan with milestones, these kind of things. Yeah, and by the way, I will share now with you this link. I see that my colleague has shared this link towards this article, how to implement integrated management system. So you can actually read that one. And now we'll share also with you the link to this article about 42001 implementation checklist. So you can actually see all of these same steps in this article, a little bit more detail. Okay, anyway, next step is you have to define these roles for AI systems. So are you, I don't know, AI producer, developer, whatever. And then you have to define the stakeholders, their requirements. So stakeholders could be your, let's say, customers. I don't know, it could be the regulators, I mean government agencies. It could be very often your own employees, because they are very interested in how the AI systems, AI technologies will impact their jobs. Will they have jobs, and if yes, what will their jobs look like? So you have to take into account various stakeholders and their requirements. You have to define the scope. You have to define the top level policy. You have to define the responsibilities. Sometimes you will include this in the top level policy, these responsibilities. Sometimes you have a separate document. Very often you will have sub policies where you will define more detailed roles and responsibilities. So this really, I mean, this approach really depends on how you want to create your documents. And then you have to do this risk assessment and treatment. So basically find out, what can happen and what kind of safeguards you want to apply. And then you have to do this AI impact, AI system impact assessment. where you actually assess, what will happen most certainly with, let's say, regular use or misuse of these systems. And by the way, one of the attendees actually asked about this business impact analysis in 22301, which is a kind of a parallel concept. So we'll share actually now with you a link to this article which explains the business impact analysis. So again, it's not very helpful for 42001, but if you're maybe, I don't know, dealing with cybersecurity or business continuity and you want just to kind of compare these concepts, it might be actually useful for you to read the article about business impact analysis. All right, now next step is that you actually write this statement of applicability, and there you have to define, which controls, you have to list all the 38 controls, and then for each of them define which one is applicable, which one is not, and you have to define the justifications. And justifications for applying the control is basically either a risk or a requirement from an interested party. And if you are not applying a control, then you have to explain why. Basically, I mean, there are usually no risks or requirements, and then this would be the reason. Okay, and the next step is to define this risk treatment plan. And by the way, if you actually followed my other webinars, or if you've read some of my other articles, you will see that these steps are very, very similar to the steps in ISO 27001 implementation. Why? Again, because the clauses are almost the same. These documents are almost the same, like risk treatment plan, statement of applicability, risk assessment, all of these things. But I mean, obviously, the documents that you will write for 4G2001 will be different. The risk assessment will be very different. So these details are going to be very different. All right, after you complete this risk treatment plan, then you have to start preparing your implementation. And there is this clause number 7, which speaks about, resources and training and awareness and communication, control of documents. I'll actually mention training and awareness in one of the next steps, but what I would definitely advise is that at this point you define for resources, which resources are needed, who actually approves those resources, and so on. Also about communication, so how are you going to communicate all things around this project, and about your AI governance, also how you're going to control your documents. So all of these things, I think it's the right time to do it before you start with controls. And then then you start implementing the controls. Of course, obviously you will select the controls from the Annex A, and then you can actually take a look at what Annex B says about implementation. And it's important to realize that Annex A is mandatory, Annex B is not mandatory. In other words, you have to consider all the controls from Annex A and then define which is applicable and which is not. But then when it comes to implementation, you might or might not actually follow what is written in Annex B. Personally, I find Annex B very, very useful. So I recommend definitely that you read it. But again, keep in mind that this is not mandatory. This is something that is optional. There is an article that we will share now with you, the article about documented information. So basically, if you want to kind of get around this concept of documented information and documents and records, it's something that you can take a look in this article that we shared now with you. Good. Now comes actually the part about training and awareness. And basically what I like to recommend is that once you start implementing the controls, which was actually the step previous step, I think that the best let's say time to go with training and awareness is that you actually do in parallel training and awareness with implementation of controls. Why is this so? Because any kind of implementation, including this AI governance, is about change, right? You are basically asking your employees to start doing things in a different way, to start using ChatGPT in a different way, or Gemini, or Claude, or whatever you're using. And change is never easy. And typically, when it comes to people, first of all, you have to explain why change is needed, and this is awareness. and you also have to explain how they have to perform these new things. And this is about training. So again, training and awareness is crucial actually for the success of the implementation of controls. And just to explain one concept, additional concept here, again, today's presentation is not about EU AI Act, but there is one interesting detail in EU AI Act, and basically it says that these companies that manage these critical AI systems, that they have to go through actually AI literacy, okay, AI literacy training. Now, AI literacy training is kind of similar concept to when you speak about cybersecurity awareness, right? Cybersecurity awareness for 27001 is about basically explaining the basics of cybersecurity to everyone in the company. This AI literacy training is the same thing, so to say, in the context of 42001. So think about this AI literacy as a training, as something that is, I would say, very useful when it comes to awareness in 27001. Okay, good. So let me see some questions. Winrich is asking slide 12, 6.1.3 is AI risk treatments. I'm missing 6.1.4 AI system impact assessment. So let me go back. I hope I didn't miss that one. No, it's here. AI system impact assessment comes after 6.1.3, 6.1.4. So it's here. Okay, good. So let me see some other questions. Limor is asking, can you explain the difference between AI producers and AI providers? A producer is basically, let's say, a developer, okay, or tester. AI provider is a company that sells products or services. So a company that sells AI-powered products or services. Very often you will be both. So for example, Advisera, we have developed our, let's say, AI-powered documentation toolkits. So we are developers, or in this case, producers. But we are also selling these products towards our clients, so this makes us AI providers. Okay, yeah, the next step is to operate the AIMS. So basically to kind of integrate these AI processes in day-to-day operations. And it also includes, regular review of risk assessment, of AI system impact assessment, these kind of things. And the next step is really monitoring and measurement. So you have to basically track whatever is happening and make sure that this kind of fulfills your expectations. And then you have to perform the internal audit. And by the way, if your company goes towards the certification, this is one of the last 3 steps that you have to perform, the internal audit, and make sure that this is done properly. And we'll share now with you a link to an article about ISO 27001 internal audit. I know it's not about 42001, but I mean, the concepts are exactly the same. So whatever you see in this article about 27, it's also applicable to 42001. Okay, good. So let's go for the next step. So the management review, again, very similar things like in ISO 27001. So you need to have into account various inputs. I mean, not the senior management needs to take into account these various inputs, and then they have to make various decisions and then basically document them in some way. Okay, corrective actions, again, it's very similar to other standards. So basically, whenever there is a non-conformity, you have to actually find what is the root cause and then define some corrections and potentially corrective actions to resolve them. And then basically, once you finish these 18 steps, then your company is ready for ISO 42001 certification. Okay, so I know this is a lot, but if you want to learn, about the details of each of these steps, I'll show you now this 42001 course, foundations course. So this is the screen here. So here, as you can see, by the way, this is a free course. You can actually sign up for free. So it's you can go through all the videos for free, and we charge only for if you go for the examination and for certification as individual. But other than that, if you want to just see the videos, you can actually go for free. Anyway, let's see the curriculum. So it has 6 modules, and in the first module we have like, okay, introduction, what is this kind of very basic things, but also some useful things like how to document AIMS, what are the benefits, related standards, explanation of terminology, understanding machine learning, understanding neural networks, main components of an AI system life cycle, a very important lesson here. And then module 2 is about planning. Here it goes actually through each clause, 4.1, 4.2, 4.3, and so on. And then clauses also 5 and 7. Module number 3 is about risk management, but also AI system impact assessment. So here you actually go, we go into level of sub-clauses, so a much more detailed analysis. So it's all about risk assessment, but also AI objectives, planning of changes. Of course, we also cover here AI system impact assessment. Module number 4, operating the AIMS. So all things about operation, also about integration with other standards. Module number 5, again, nothing new here. It's about monitoring, measurement, analysis, evaluation, internal audit, management review, continual improvement, non-conformities. And then module 6 is about all of these controls. So basically you will see 9 lessons here, and each of these lessons actually cover each of the controls from a particular section. So I don't know, you have AI system lifecycle. There are, I think, 6 or so controls, and for each of these, all of these 6 controls are covered in this lesson here. Anyway, this is the foundations course. We also have this lead implementer course, and just to show you the curriculum, so the first 6 modules are the same. Okay, so you have exactly the same, but then you have these other modules which explain actually how to lead an implementation project. Okay, so basically this is the difference between foundations course and lead implementer course. Okay, going back to my presentation, we'll share now with you the link to all of these courses. So if you click this link, you will be able to see all Advisera courses. Okay, good. Now let's briefly go through greatest challenges, and then I'll also go and answer your remaining questions. So I received a huge number of your emails around challenges, and thank you for this. I tried to kind of pick the 5 most interesting ones, and sorry for not displaying all the others. Anyway, one of the greatest challenges with 42001 is implementation is this lack of internal expertise and lack of resources. Okay, regarding internal expertise, okay, obviously you have to train your people for 42001, but also for particulars of a certain AI system. So there are various courses out there. And for resources, if you actually approach this resource provision in a systematic way, especially since you have separate controls for these resources, then you will actually be able to manage this kind of a project in a more easier way. Again, Annex A specifies what resources you have to provide, so it makes it easier to plan. Greatest challenge was also AI is moving so rapidly that people are not sure where to start from a compliance or governance perspective. Okay, let me answer this. This is basically 2 questions here. So AI is moving so rapidly that people are not sure where to start. So yes, AI is moving very, very rapidly, but you have to start somewhere. In other words, you can't simply wait for, I don't know, a couple of more years, because it will be too late then. So you have to start with whatever technology is currently available. And of course, as the technology evolves, so will your AI governance evolve. But But again, some core principles will not evolve. You will have to control your AI system lifecycle. You will have to control your data. You will have to manage your relationships with your suppliers and partners and customers. Obviously, these things are not going to change. So again, using a framework like 42001, gives you something that is that is. I wouldn't say it's completely irrelevant for technology. Obviously, technology will also influence the standard in the future. But again, these the concepts presented in the standard can actually bear pretty good any change in technology. Okay, second part of this question is from a compliance or governance perspective. To be honest, I don't see a big difference here because 42001 presents you how you actually implement AI governance. So you're both, if you comply with 42001, you're governing your AI systems in the right way. So it's for me, this is basically the same thing. Okay, another challenge, turning ISO 42001 requirements into day-to-day processes that the business actually follows. Yeah, this is the challenge with any standard, not only with 42. And for that purpose, you really need, if you want to avoid this problem, then don't put everything on one person, right? You should actually have a project team, and then the people in this project team should be really representatives from your whole company, and then make sure that this is a collaborative effort, and that you're not writing documents which make no sense. You should always write documents that are I would say applicable to your technology, applicable to your processes, applicable to your people, applicable to whatever goals you want to achieve. So that way you actually make something that sticks, right? Something that is realistic. Okay, how to prevent misappropriating data to train models for which they do not have consent. Yeah, this is very often a challenge. And there are a couple of approaches. I mean, one approach is that you simply do not use external language models. Rather that you simply set up your own server and that you install on that server, let's say a small language model, which is in most cases good enough for most of the AI tasks, so that any data that you send towards this small language model is basically controlled on your server, so that it never actually leaves your server. Another approach would be that you're still using some, let's say, large language model that is controlled not by you but by some other provider, and then actually make sure that you have a legal relationship with this provider which actually guarantees that this data is not going to be used. So all of these big companies like OpenAI, like I don't know, Google, like Anthropic, which manages Claude, they actually have terms and conditions which basically specify that if you mark that your data is never to be used for training, they actually guarantee that they will never use this data. And by the way, I'm not sure if you've done this in your ChatGPT, but you have to mark that mark that you do not want your data to be used. And whether you trust it or not, this is something that you have to think for yourself. But again, this is, let's say, one legal way of actually handling this kind of situation. Another way is that if you don't trust this kind of external providers, that then you're sending only the data which is, let's say, anonymized. Okay, so that even if it does leak, that you actually are not sending real data but anonymized data. So there are various, let's say, approaches to handle this risk. Okay, complexity of AI systems and the fact that you do not see what is happening in the background. Yes, again. But for example, we are now developing a new product that we will launch, I hope, in the next 2 months. And how we are approaching with this is that we actually create the user interface where we explain in detail what happens in the background. So basically, what is the AI, how the AI system is used, and basically what inputs and outputs will be created with this AI system, right? So basically this is the way to make it more transparent so that the common users can actually understand how this AI is used, what kind of data is used, and basically what it can expect. So this is, I would say, one way that that especially if you are developing AI systems, one way to overcome this problem, that you're actually trying to be as transparent as possible when developing your AI systems. I'm not sure if this answers the question, but at least I can give you my experience from developing this kind of AI products. All right, now let's move on to conclusion, and then I'll go for this Q&A session. So I think that ISO 42001 is going to play a crucial role in the upcoming years, because it will help resolve, at least on this organizational side, the most pressing issue of AI technology, and this is trustworthiness, right? And it will achieve this by, I would say, giving a clear path to AI governance. And of course, to learn more about ISO 42001, you can take a look at these free courses. So I've shown you these foundations and lead implementer course, but there are also internal auditor and lead auditor courses. And again, I will share now with you this link for these courses. And by the way, we currently have this Black Friday campaign discounts. So if you purchase actually in the next couple of days these courses, then you will get a very nice discount. And also, if you want to schedule a call with our training expert, he will actually show you, the details of these courses. Also explain you how this certification exam works, this kind of thing. So you can open this link that we will also share now with you, and you can schedule a call with our colleague. Okay, good. Now let me go to the Q&A session. So yeah, please send me the questions that you want me to answer, and I'll try to answer all of the questions until the top of the hour. And before I actually start answering your questions, just a couple of notes here. So first of all, feel free to reach out directly to me through email, and you can see my email on the screen now. And second thing, you can follow me on YouTube and on LinkedIn. So on YouTube, I publish various videos. I started publishing also 42001 videos now on YouTube, and I also have a big amount of 27001 and NIS2 and DORA videos already there. I also have several videos for consultants there. And on LinkedIn, I publish regularly posts about various news about cybersecurity, AI governance, compliance, these kind of things. So if you want to keep up to date, you can take a look at these. You can take a look at my LinkedIn profile. And on YouTube, you'll also find this Secure and Simple podcast. So basically, it's a podcast that is intended primarily for consultants. So if you're a consultant and you want to hear some tips on how to manage your consultancy, you can actually take a look at this podcast. Okay, yeah, you have the links in the chat window. And yeah, my next webinar will be on ISO 22301, the business continuity standard. So this will be next Wednesday at the same time. And this webinar will be how to write business continuity plans that then you can use actually for NIS2 and DORA, right? So basically how to use ISO 22301 to write business continuity plans for NIS2 and DORA. And you can also see the link where you can actually register for this webinar. All right, now let's see now the questions that came in, and let's answer them. So question from Muhammad from before. I would like to know how to prepare for the exam and if there is any test bank. Yeah, so if you purchase the exam for any of our courses, then you can actually you get the script and so on, but you also get the access to this practice exam, right? And then you can practice all the questions there. Good. William is asking, why does the AI impact assessment cover that risk? What does the AI system impact assessment cover that the risk assessment does not cover? So again, risk assessment is about something that could potentially happen in the future. Maybe you have, I don't know, 5% chances or 10% chances. So again, your data could leak, maybe, potentially. But again, so this is risk assessment. But AI system impact assessment is, you know, forecasting something that will certainly happen in the future. So because of the use of AI, we will decrease the costs, you know, for X amount of money. Because of the use of AI, some people will lose their jobs. Because of the use of AI, we will have more customers. So this is the crucial distinction. AI system impact assessment focuses on things that will certainly help happen in the future. Risk assessment focuses on things that could potentially happen, but not very certain. Good. Okay. Sravani is asking, internal audits period same like 2001. So yes, basically you have to do them at least once a year. Andrew is asking, if you have a product into which I have integrated AI features like AU making suggestions for inputs based on user input, am I AI developer or service provider? Because I based on LLM, and where does LLM developer fall under interested parties? So LLM developer, like, I don't know, OpenAI or Anthropic, they're your suppliers. If you are developing your AI system, then you're a developer. If you are also at the same time selling this AI system to your customer, then you're AI provider. So in this case, you will be at the same time AI developer and AI provider. Andrew is asking, I'm thinking of different levels of AI vendor, ChatGPT. Yeah, okay, I hope I answered this question. Marcos is asking, do you at Advisera offer a standard beginner AI literacy course? No, not yet, but we are certainly thinking about developing this kind of AI literacy training. Yes, this is a very good idea. Jen is asking, thank you for making this training available for free. Yeah, okay, thank you. Limor is also saying thank you. Okay, great. Limor is asking, is there a webinar planned for ISO 27701? Yes, we are thinking actually about doing this because there is a new version of 27701 published this year. Okay, and the last question. So Kumpulani asks, based on the checklist we have, what are the most critical components that makes 42001 easy to follow for development of my own toolkit? I'm not sure what is the question here. Okay, next question. The issue on the lead implementer exam, how do we prepare or have questions once write PCB and have challenges because it was scenario based? I'm not sure what PCB has for their courses. We actually, if you go for Advisera's lead implementer course, there are no scenario-based questions. They're basically multiple-choice questions, so there are no scenario-based. So anyway, it's I'm sorry, but I can't answer for PCB. Okay, great. I hope I answered all of the questions. So let me just take a couple of words to wrap up the webinar. So as I mentioned, this 1-hour webinar was really too short to go into details of each and every 42001 clause or each and every step. And for that purpose, of course, you can go through these online courses. And we'll publish the PDF presentation deck with all the links. Actually, at the same page where you are now watching the page. So if you joined through YouTube or LinkedIn, basically you should keep this tab open, and in about 10 minutes you will see in the comment section, you will actually see that we posted the comment with the links to download the PDF presentation deck and also all the other links from today's webinar. If you joined the webinar through Zoom, then we will send you a link where you can download the PDF presentation deck through email, and you will receive this email latest by tomorrow. And yeah, you'll also see a link to a short survey. It's only short, only 3 questions, and I would be grateful if you can fill this out, because this will give me a feedback on what I have to improve in this webinar. And this would be all. Thank you very much for your participation, and I hope you enjoyed the webinar. Have a nice day.